Morning, everybody. How you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I'm Sean Butler. That's Bugsy Malone. This is episode 238, I think, of Tottenham Walks. We're going to call it 238. How are you? We hope you are all happy and healthy, doing the things you love with the people that you love doing them with. Please do me a favour, guys. Smash the like button on the video like you always do. Smash the subscribe on the channel if you haven't already. We've just got over 9k. In fact, we smashed through 9k. We're 9100 on the road to 10k now. Welcome back to all the old guys. Welcome to the new. Hit a notification bell button and also drop a comment. Let me know your thoughts on today's topic. Now, guys, I mean, it feels like things are heating up, doesn't it? It feels to me as though there's a little bit of movement in some stories. I'll be honest, completely mudded myself within literally 20 seconds on Henry's show last night. We were talking about the Vicario noise as it was emerging, but it hadn't really dropped from Romano yet, but that noise was starting to be there. And Henry said or asked me, what do I think's going on? And I decided to get off the fence. Decided to make a bold statement where I said, I think it could be 4D chess from Levy. I think this all could be very smart negotiating strategies and tactics where the noise around Vicario is really an incredible effort to try and lean and leverage and put the fear into Brentford's side of missing out on the money for Raya by Tottenham turning their attentions elsewhere. But in reality, Raya's still the target. Made that statement. Henry even put me up on full screen. And then literally within 20 seconds, a few moments later, I'll start seeing all the comments. Sean, you're in the mud. Check Twitter. And Romano's come out saying basically terms are agreed, the deal's agreed with the club. They're just waiting for Tottenham to send over the official contract. Oh dear. You try and be brave in front of however many hundreds of people, always comes back to bite you. From now on, I am sitting on the fence, never going to make a claim. There's no reward for it. Listen, I honestly don't know what to think about Vicario. I've gone back and forth. I've watched the highlight reels. I've watched the every goals conceded reel. I've read people's profiles of him. I've looked on FB refs. I've looked on Y Scout. I've done as much as I can possibly do, and I don't really know whether or not I rate him as what we need. He's certainly not my first choice ahead of David Raya. But it looks like Daniel Levy only ever intended to spend a maximum of 25 million or something on a goalkeeper. And if Brentford aren't going to do their part in coming down into somewhere closer to middle ground, then we have to look into a different direction. And why it's Vicario? Obviously, we're also linked with Mamardashvili, the Georgian keeper. I think most people would rather have Mamardashvili than Vicario, mainly because we didn't know about Vicario. We haven't heard his name. He plays for Empoli. They're not exactly like a big profile team in Serie A. And look, for what it's worth, as I said when I initially did a video on this guy a couple of days ago, he comes across like a good goalkeeper. Like, he's solid at everything, but he's not spectacular at anything. He's a good shot stopper. What I would say is he likes to use his feet more than he uses his hands in some of those saves, highlight reels, which I don't know whether that is a good thing or a bad thing. The good thing is that he uses his full body. Bad thing is that maybe he's, jumping past the ball sometimes, and then you can't really control where you're parrying it if it's coming off your feet or off your legs. As long as the ball's not going in the back of the net, I guess it doesn't really matter. But obviously there are consequences for just random parries. I don't know. Look, what I would say is, on the valuation thing, if it means that we can then go and use the money we're not spending on Raya, like that 20 million saving or 25 million saving, and put it towards the other holes, then that's an upside way of looking at it. So I'm not convinced that he's a sweeper keeper, really not. And I wonder how it is that his name came up. Who identified him? We don't have a director of football, do we? You know, we have this conversation every other day on this channel. Where is the DOF? If he's not around, who's doing the scouting? Who's doing the negotiations? Who's the person who is making these decisions? Is it Postecoglou? You know, does Postecoglou know this guy? He's 26. He's been around. Does he know this guy and thinks he'll fit the system? Or is this someone else that's saying, well, if we can't get David Raya, then we go, you know, south in valuation, and you know, we go south in valuation and hope that the drop in quality is not proportionate to the drop in valuation. I'm not sure. But you know what, the other side of the argument is, and I put a tweet out about this, everyone wants to be like Brighton until it's time to be like Brighton. Just because this player is not a household name and is of 16, 17 million pound valuation doesn't mean that he's a bad player, doesn't mean that he won't work. We always tip our hats to the clubs who have the skill set to identify these undervalued players that fit in systems and that level the team up. We always say, why can't Tottenham do this? Why can't Tottenham do that? And the reaction when it looks like we're about to do that is equally unsurprising from the fan base. What is this? What's going on? There's a meltdown. I think Tottenham fans just like having a meltdown. You know, the emotional outrage is never ending, is it? Look, I'll be honest, like I say, I'm sitting on the fence on this one until I see him in a Tottenham shirt. I don't know whether he is a brilliant one or one that we're going to regret. If you ask me, my preference, I would rather have David Raya. But would I rather have David Raya, Max Kilman and Alex Scott, or would I rather have Vicario, Tapsoba and Maddison? The answer is the latter version, and maybe signings like Tapsoba and Maddison are only plausible if we don't blow too much money off the budget on the goalkeeper. Time will tell, guys. You know, I don't really know kind of what else to say on it, apart from I don't think this story is done. I mean, having said that, I just put by the time I get home, it will probably be a here we go. always say it. Always speak too soon. But listen, like I say, I'll get on with it. I'm not going to fly off the handle with this one. I'm going to continue to try and figure out what sort of goalkeeper he is, because right now I'm just not really confident in my analysis or assessment as to whether or not he fits what we need. But if Postecoglou was cool with it, or was leading the push for him, then I am very much okay with it. If this is a Levy just moving to plan B, get the cheaper B-Tech version of someone that Postecoglou actually wanted, which was Raya, then yeah, it's more of the same, isn't it? More rinse and repeat of the same old Levy. I'm not sure which camp we're in yet, guys. So anyway, yeah, moving on. The only other story that's really of note to share with you this morning is in the Sun last night. There was an article about Harry Kane, and basically they were inferring that Harry Kane's desperate to leave, but he doesn't want to go overseas, and that Manchester United have told Charlie Kane and his other agents to hand in a transfer request, because it's the only way to move the needle and force Daniel Levy's hand. And I don't know if that's true or not. The Sun, you know, take it with a pinch of salt. But there's a reasonable storyline there, I think. I'd be very surprised if Harry Kane was to put in a transfer request. He doesn't come across as that sort of player. And I think Daniel Levy knows that, and I think Daniel Levy takes advantage of that. Takes advantage of the loyalty, takes advantage of the willingness to not disrespect the club or the fans that Harry Kane loves so much, and that who love him. So, you know, you can write these sorts of stories knowing that it's probably never going to happen. And we all know that the media have an agenda to try to, you know, unsettle Tottenham's Harry Kane, our biggest players. The media always want the best players playing for the best clubs. And it's no surprise to see that happening again here. So, like I say, I'll be surprised if Harry Kane was to put in a transfer request. I'm not going to say he won't, because that would be getting off the fence. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Do you think Harry Kane is brave enough to put in a request to leave and to go to Manchester United? If he did, what would Daniel Levy's reaction be? How would he handle it? And Daniel Levy is definitely playing an incredibly risky game regardless, by basically putting the hammer down saying you're not leaving to go to a Premier League club whilst I'm in control of your contract. It would be mad to me to think that if Harry Kane has made it his intentions clear that he wants out, but wouldn't go as far as to put in a transfer request, but has essentially said under no uncertain terms that if you don't sell me this window, I'm leaving next summer. I think it would be incredibly negligent of Daniel Levy to allow that to happen. 80 million quid goes a long way. It's not that much money in the grand scheme of things, and it's impossible to replace Harry Kane anyway. But if he's leaving next year, I'd rather have the 80 million than one more season with Harry Kane, I think, or 90 million. Anything more than 100 million, I think you have to do it. Anything less than 60 or 70, you probably don't. Maybe the cost benefits of losing out on those 30 goals is the difference between Champions League football or not. And that in and of itself is the difference between 60 million minimum. It's a difficult one. It's a tightrope for Daniel Levy to walk, and I have absolutely no confidence that he'll do this one right, to be honest. Anyway, that's for another conversation, another day. Let me know your thoughts on Harry Kane, though. Let me know your thoughts on Vicario. Do you think that it's going to be him? And if so, are you seeing this as like a good piece of business where we can add more quality further up the pitch by having saved that difference? Do you think this is Postecoglou that's leading the charge for this goalkeeper? Is the drop in valuation replicated in the drop in quality, or is there a less of a difference and so it makes sense? Let me know your thoughts, guys. Happy or not? I'm not sure where I am on this one. I'll think about it and I'll come back to you. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, guys, bye-bye.